Welcome, A-Train PC Classic fans, to A-Train PC Classic with Omnius Prime. Episode 3, Tourist Haven 1. What's the plan, man? Before we can figure out and divulge what the plan is, let's take a look at the mission. So here it is, April 1st of 2002, and this map I decided to, after finishing the third and final tutorial scenario on easy level, I decided to try this scenario at the normal level, now to see how moving up a level of difficulty works and kind of what the differences are. So now, I have 4 goals in this scenario, and I have until March 31st, 2010, 8 years, to achieve. Yearly rail profit, 200 million. Yearly road profit, 20 million. Yearly streetcar profit, 5 million. But best of all, bullet train line. So I've got to build a bullet train line. And so that was one reason why I decided to pick this scenario. It's going to be tough because I have to get profit, not just sales, but profit from railroad and streetcar. So I got to get particular levels. Let's take a quick look at my company info. Now, before, what I want to do is the basic idea here is this is a city that is transitioning from manufacturing to tourism. So I'm going to have to facilitate that process. So now I started out with capital stock of 600 million, which left me with 361 million in cash on hand to spend. I have 80 people right now. My brand equity is widely famous, so it's not, like super famous like in the easy one. Workload is appropriate amount, and employee status working hard. Now, it just seems kind of strange that they're working hard when they have an appropriate amount of workload. And they're about to get a whole lot more busy as I grow the city and the industries. So now here is city information. Now up top here we have forestry, and it's just maxed out, and farming is right next to it. Over here we have industry, and it's looks like we got some heavy industry. Commerce down here on this quadrant doesn't look like we have much commerce. Here we have housing. We have, it looks like, a decent amount of housing. Public buildings, okay, kind of a decent amount of public buildings. Our transit is, kind of a little weak, so I've got to build that up. And then leisure's kind of non-existent. And so I'm going to be building that up a lot, too, because I need to draw tourists to the area and give my residents something cool to do in their time off. So now, let's see, take a look at the price list. So my materials are going to be local offer of 24,300. I can sell it for 40,200 on the local bid, and my world price is 33,800. Not near as good, but I can make some money selling materials, exporting it. Agriculture really don't have much to begin with, so I'm going to skip that. The same with fish. It'll take a while before I could ever maybe do anything with that. Now, lumber is the other important thing. My local offer is 40,300. That's what I'm going to pay to buy it, unless I, of course, develop it. Local bid, 66,700, so there's a good profit margin there. World price, 63,000. Not as good a profit margin on the world price, but what we lack in profit margin, we can make up for with volume. Of course, that reminds me of the contractor joke. Now, I'm by profession an accountant, and so I kind of really like this game because it's got like a real profit and loss statement. And let's see, to start the game out, I'm only 13,930,000 in the red. And my balance sheet. Now, to be fair, I've already been doing a few things, spending some money. So my surplus is a negative $4 million right now because I've been buying land and I placed some bus stops and stuff. But I'm going to show you how to place bus stops here in a moment. So the oil and the coal not worth doing anything with. Now, if we take a look at the stock market, now what I like to do is I like to just double click on the perks title column, and I can see all of the shareholder perks. Now, as you can see, I've been buying a bunch of stocks, but I left one to buy here, this Pioneer Gas, and since I need more than 1 million shares, I'm going to buy 101 lots at 10,000 each, so that I end up with 1,010,000 shares. And that will give me the shareholder perk, which was, let's see, cost for gas will be reduced. The running cost for a station will be lowered by 2%. A good one to have because I do intend to be building some stations and some stations rather quickly. So now the game plan was they were suggesting that, so we have like a station here, this North Alioth station, and then a West Alioth station here, and Fecta over on the left here. So we've got kind of a double line rail system coming in. Now, the bullet train, there are 4 cities, okay? To the north up here is a medium-sized city called Polaris. The other compass directions all have small cities. So I'm planning on running my bullet train line from Polaris down along this line here. Just to the left, 3 hexes to the left of the screen. And then I'm going to have a bullet train station right in here. Right next to my North Alioth station. So that's going to take considerable amounts of money. They said $1 billion. So that's going to take quite a bit to free up credit and get a bunch of cash going when I do get ready to build it. And they say that I won't get approval until April 1st of 2005. So I've got 3 years of building up this area before I need to worry about the bullet train. So, game plan. They were suggesting that I build passenger lines, 2 of them. One from North Alioth into this South Dubhe area, a little bit to the north, and then over here more to this central Dubhe area. Then to build a second line from North Alioth into, I guess this is kind of like West Megrez, and then into Megrez here. Now, I've already done a little bit of business here. I started a logging camp right here so that I can take care of building up some logging. And what I'm going to have to do is build 2 more depots here because I've already been building some depots. So I'm going to build 2 more logging depots right there. So I'm going to have a total of 8. I'm going to build a second logging camp here later on. Because what I intend to do is plop a freight station down here. So what I already did, excuse me, was bought the land. So a two-platform freight station is going in there. It's going to run down into this area here, a bit north of North Alioth, okay? Because the first thing I need to do is come down here. Oh yeah, let's take a look at the bank. Right now, since I bought the first bank stock, I have a 1% interest rate reduction. So it means that for a 1 year loan, I get 11.5% instead of 12.5, and for a 4 year loan, up to a 4 year loan, I get 13% instead of 14%. Some definitely high interest rates this time around instead of the 2%, where I could just go in and borrow a bunch of money and then buy a bunch of stocks and get the security, the dividend income. I don't get to play that one this time so much because the yields are going to be like around 4% or so. But then that just means that when I do go public and I issue stock, I can keep my dividend yield down a lot lower than the interest rates. Okay, projects. So I've got all kinds of good projects that I can research in. One of them is going to be this increase in workforce, which I need to do to gain. It'll give me like 20 employees. Here it can have a company retreat and then benefits. These are kind of some low cost things to do to help employee morale. But first and foremost, I'm going to start off with the seasonal tour. A mere $14,000, takes me 30 days, and that's the one I'm going to do. The increase in the workforce is a 30-day one for 260,000. So start off with this, because what it'll do is give me 3 months of increased tourist activity, which is what I want on my lines. So what I decided to do is, instead of get back to that train station. So here, instead of running 2 lines, which will take 2 platforms, I'm going to add a third station in over here and run a loop from North Alioth to South Dubhe to Dubhe to Mekra, and then here to Megrez and like West Megrez, and then back here again. That way, only 1 platform, and now I'll have 6 stops on that one big loop. And I could maybe put like 3 trains in, each running 2 stations separate. And the idea is that the rail stations are going to help to increase population and stuff. But I'm also going to have to, in order to build rail stations, I'm going to need to move supplies around and materials. And of course, that means I need to make some materials. So, like I said, I built the logging site already. So I'm going to start off with this Material Factory B. It's going to take 20 people to run this. And I'm going to place it right over here. I'm going to be buying materials from someone else, because that's not my materials factory. But got to start somewhere. And then from here, this will be a springboard. I'll build another materials factory here. I'm going to build a port here, and then I'm going to have a freight station here that will be hauling lumber from Megrez down here to the port to ship out for money. I'll also have plenty of building materials, because what I'm going to want to do is run business materials up into Megrez so that I can spread it around the map from that point. Now, let's have a little bit of fun with, let's look at the trains. Now, here I've got 1 train. I've got dual track, and I've got all these little silly crisscrosses and stuff. So this is really kind of inefficient. So guess what I'm going to do? Let's have a little fun with, I'm going to remove some track. I'm going to go ahead and, oh wait, hold on a second. Let me just for grins, let's go into the train. And you can see that it's going to come here, and then it's going to make a left turn here, go to the left side of this station here, come into the left side of the station here, come up to here, bounce back, make another turn into this left-hand part of the station instead of the right turn, come back around kind of like on the inside track to the left-hand part here, and back again. I mean, it's just silly. So what I'm going to do is dumb this down because I intend to put another train on. So I'm going to get rid of these crisscrosses because they're just absolutely, whoops, not necessary. Okay. Whoops. Now let's just get back here. And I'm going to come back here and remove these crisscrosses. Whoops. There we go. Now, oddly enough, what I'm going to do now is get rid of this stuff. So this is like the third time that I've started this episode. And each time I kind of try to refine my plan down from the initial one. So now, I've also been buying up some land here because I intend to move this station back 4 hexes while I increase the platform length by 1. So now this train is just going to follow one simple track. It's also going to have less of a, you know, this little turnaround thing was just silly nonsense. And then I'm going to add a second train here in a few days that will go on the other track. Now, I have streetcar line over on the left here. That's got a couple of stops, but I'm going to have to add, I'm going to add 2 more. Now, the bus line here, it had 4 stops. The station here, and then a couple of stops around the way. Now, the road here extended down here. And I cut it off because I just don't want it there. Now, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to get rid of this road. Because what I didn't want before was the bus coming down here and here. There's no stop here, so there was no reason to run the bus past here. So now that shortens up the route. And now I'm going to build some road here to here to here and back again. So what I've done is I've kind of extended this loop here. Now there's a reason that I'm doing that because there's 4 hexes here that I'm going to want to use as materials depots. There's 3 hexes that I'm going to sell. But first, let's go ahead. I'm going to construct some bus stops. This happens to be the 2-sided one instead of the 1-sided one. So now what I want to do is drop one in about right here. And then I want to drop one in right here, right next to my radio tower. Okay. And if I go in and take a look, I can see that I've got a South Alioth stop now. I can change the name. I'm going to get rid of the period and call this Southwest Alioth. And over here, I'm going to call this radio tower, because that's my radio tower. So I'm going to call that the radio tower stop. So as you can see, we can change these things around. Now here, I can also reorder things. I can move this up. Let's see, this is going right after the temple, okay? And then this one is going right after it, and right before this West Alioth stop right there. So I can now make that the new default. And what I've done now is I've got my stations all kind of lined up from North Alioth station on down. So one thing I decided to do was for my bus was extend, is put in extra bus stops, get this extension in now, and then we can take a look at the bus schedule. So this is, I can change this to Alioth Loop 1. I can use the color code here and change it to green. So now it's the green line, okay? We can look at the service schedule. Now, we can set off days, okay? We can set whole off months. And can set operating hours. Now, right now it says 6 to 0. Now, my train's only running until 2300. Whoopsie. So what I need to do is move this guy up to 6. I'm going to, whoops. Let's come down here and go to 23, and that moved that to 2300. So now my bus is going to run from 6 to 2300, which is the same time my trains are running. Now let's take a look at North Alioth Station and take a look at departure conditions. Now here it's got this crazy ass kind of stuff where it's gonna every 6 hours or something it'll schedule departure at 6 a.m. and then recurring every 3 hours for 6 times. That's silly. So I'm just gonna go over here and set my stop time to 10 minutes. Now, buses normally stop 5 minutes at stops. But I want, since that's the main station, I'm going to set it to 10 minutes. Now, here, it's in stand number 1. As I add buses, I can add up to 5 buses. I can put each one of them to stop at a different stand. So I don't have them kind of like, stacking up and stuff. And I could theoretically, if I've got a faster bus later on, it won't stack up behind some other bus. So now what I've done is I've got the buses ready to go. Now, some of the other things that I wanted to show you was land trade. I've been buying some land, but what I wanted to do was show you selling some land. So here, I'm going to sell this one on broker sale because I want to take my time and make money. And as long as I do 1 hex at a time, it'll, I can keep that broker sale setting going. And I'm going to do 3 hexes here. Now, no telling when these will sell. But as things pick up in the city, I expect them to sell, and I'll probably make some profit on it because the longer it waits, the more valuable that land is going to become. So, I've done the bus, I've done the buying land. Oh yeah, I haven't bought land. So now the other thing is so yeah, this station is going to come back here a bit, and it's going to expand out one more um, lane. So what I'm going to do here is just go into my land trade, and I'm buying the farm stuff up because it's cheap, buying up the empty lots because they're cheap, and I don't want anyone building on them before I want to. Now, what's really strange is I've set aside 7 hexes back here because what I want to do is after I move the rail station down, at some point I'm going to get a garage expansion. Then I'm going to put train garages in here after the station and just see how train garages work. But that's way down the road. So now one of the other things I want to do is extend the streetcar line down here, down to here, up here, over here, and then I'm going to go up across the field, the road, and across the field so I get back up here. So I'll be, back right next to the station here. So I'm hoping that a big expansion there and then one up here to the left to the north up in this area is going to give me enough streetcar track to get the job done. Now what I want to do is come over here, and talking of streetcars, let's build a streetcar stop. So these are streetcar stop. Okay, proceed. I want one right here. And what I want is at both sides. And then I can, okay. And I'm going to build another one right here. Because I want a few more stops in here so that I'm not going to go through renaming and stuff, but it's easy to add streetcar stops. And so I think I've done enough for right now, and what I want to do is come back in a moment and get to the next point where I'm going to start to build a freight train station. I'm back a little further along in the game, and now I'm getting ready to build some stuff. One of the things that I'm going to need to do is get rid of this train station right here. So let's go in here, and it's the North Alioth station, and I'm going to remove it. Boom. So that was like $3 million or something like that. Now I'm going to construct a station complex A. Now, what I want to do is about right here. Now I got to rotate it to where that's going to happen. I'm going to need 3 platforms, and I'm going to go 7 squares in length. That's the max I can do. Okay, now what I need to do is get it placed about right where I'm going to want it. Not quite. Let's see. That's, ooh. Nope, not quite. It's always fun kind of getting these lined up. Okay, now I'm almost there. Need one more. Nope. 2, 3, 4. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for right there. Okay. Now I can hook this baby up with some track. Now I decided to build the 3rd platform, even though I'm not going to hook it up yet because I haven't got stations. But I want to get that built all at once and not horse around building two platforms, then have to turn around and build some more. Now, I'm going to just go ahead while I'm at it and buy up that house. What I want is a nice four square right there. Okay, now, this is where that's going to end. Other thing that I'm going to need to do is build a port. So I am, whoops, going to build it right here. Now, one thing I discovered was that I need to build the port before I build a road in front of it. When I built the road in front, then the port wouldn't fit in. So that's going to be the port. And now what I'm going to need, whoops, is back here. Let's go to a freight station. I don't need anything fancy. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to build it right here. My platform length is going to be 5 squares. Okay. So that looks like right where. Whoops. Right where I want it. Okay. Now, I need to do another train station, freight station right here. It's also going to be, this one's going to be 2 platforms. Always have a little bit of fun. There we go. That's not what I want. Right there, I want it right there. Okay, and it's flush. Okay. So, now that's taken care of. And let's just go ahead and run some clock. And let's just wait until we see it build. Oh boy. Here we have this guy. There we go. Man, sometimes it just does not want to. Okay, let's come back here a little more and see where we are at, because this shouldn't take very long to get the freight station built. There we go. That's what I wanted. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up the freight stations and then buy a train. Now, this I'm going to do is I'm going to connect here. I'm going to raise it. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to extend it. Let's see, that looks good. And I need to, whoops, come down a little more. One more hex, nope. One more hex over. I think that's going to be it. And then lower it. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay, because what I want is this little hex right here. I'm going to fit a part of a rail station under there. It's going to go in here, and then the platform is going to come right out through here. Now, I need to hook the station up. Okay, come on. Let's build. Okay. I'm going to go straight down through, let's see, here. Okay, now what I need to do is move the map around. And as you can see, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to go here to about, what is it, right here. Nope, don't want that. Okay. And let's go to there. Now let's get this guy coming out. Straight across. And, nope. There we go. Okay. Awesome. Laying track. Now what we're going to do is purchase a freight train. Okay. With 2 lumber for now. It's going to have more. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do the renaming later. And let's just reverse it. Okay. Come back here. I'm going to go ahead and West Megrez, I'm going to rename these in a little bit. This is going to be freight handling. I want to load all for the wood. North Alioth freight handling. I want to unload all for the wood. I'm going to be carrying materials from North Alioth up to Megrez. So that takes care of that. My operating hours are going to be 7 to 2300. A little behind there. Off days. Right now I'm going to set them to the holidays. I'm actually going to have them off a couple of days. I don't need departure conditions, so that's going to take care of that. And now what the train will do is pick up wood, drag it over to North Alioth. So that's the next step. I'll be back in a little bit to show you how I'm going to extend things. Now, for the next step, what I'm going to do is start to extend my materials. So I need to build a truck parking garage here. And I'm going to build it right here. Okay, now if you can see the green catchment area, the truck stop has like a 6 range. So I've got 2 rows of materials that I can draw from this truck stop here. Now I need to build a line over here, and I need to run it so that I get out here 3 hexes to the left in the fields. In other words, whoopsie, it's kind of like over in this area. So I need to get over to here so that when I build materials depot, I can build the train station over in this area right here. So now what I need to do is let's just get a quick hookup here. This is going to be a very quick segment. So I'm just going to build a road from here. Make sure that it's nice and straight. Well, that looks straight enough. I'm going to run it down to here. Go ahead, set it up. Move my map. Now let's go ahead and go from here to here. Oh, whoops, I don't have enough funds. Time to go to the bank and borrow $50 million. I decided that instead of like borrowing 100 million at a pop. I'm going to do 50 million at a pop. I'm going to do it for 4 years. My interest charges are going to be like $26,000. I mean, this is going to be expensive borrowing. Ooh. But got to borrow to build stuff. So now I'm going to take the road out here to here. Bang. So now I'm going to put a rail station in right here. And I'm going to have supply material depots here for a train station there. That is going to supply building a train station there. So I'll be back in a little bit and show you my next step. Now that the truck has moved some materials here where I can build my railroad station, I'm going to come in here and build a freight station. Just a little A. So let's see, we're going to rotate it. Okay, now I'm going to leave it at 3 squares. 1, 2, 3. That looks like exactly where I want it. Now, notice that the catchment area looks like it's going to end one row past the trees. And no, that's not the case. It's going to go, that's like a 10 hex catchment area when it's really only 7. And as you can see back here, you can see how this station is picking up the last of the material line right there. So I'm going to go ahead and place this here because it'll be easier for me to show you by building the material depots that they're going to be right here. Okay. See, this is showing yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm going to place it right there. Now, the important thing about this is that in this row right here, that's the bullet train row. So I needed to make sure to, in one of my tests, I built it like right there. And no, that's not going to work. So I learned to push it out one more, push this out one more. Over here, I ended up having to buy some properties because somebody's building already, and I really don't want that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a line from this station here in McGrath into Merak. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm not going to show you that. I'm trying to push this along a little further along. Now, as you can see, I've added in a new freight line over in this area. Okay, so I've actually connected up this new station here so I can drop off materials there. I built a truck parking lot here and here so that I can run freight here. Now, the truck that was running freight from McGrath to Merak is now sitting on this road here. Okay, so it's kind of like done what it needs to do moving freight over here. I don't need to have a truck on every route. In fact, I'm going to be kind of shuffling trucks around. I did buy a new truck, put it in over in this area. Okay, so that I'm running freight now from North Alioth over here to South Dubhe. And you can see that I've got the material depot stuff right there. Now, I've got the second material B factory in. You can see that now my big station here is working, and I've got drastic progress on my development. That was the reason I put in that second train so soon. Now, here my port says it'll be done May 3rd, and right now it's May 1st. And what I have here is the Alioth freight train. So what I'm going to do now is go into configure, and I'm going to add 1, 2 freight cars. And now let's just see. What I want to do here is they are material freight cars to add on to my lumber ones. So now if I come over here and go to North Alioth Freight, my freight handling here for materials is going to be load all. And for West Megrez, it's going to be unload all for the materials. So what I'm going to be doing is hauling 2 materials up to Megrez and running lumber back down. Now I had to add a couple of more, oops, that's not where I wanted to put those. Pooh Bear. Not where I wanted to put those. So, guess I'm going to have to remove these, because I'm going to be, no, lumber, right there. So get rid of these 2 guys. I'm going to be running some stuff there, so I need to just build them over here. There we go. So I'm going to be running a rail track through there. So that's going to get me going a little ways. I'll be back in a little bit and show you where I'm going to be building the passenger station. Here I am back again, and now what I've done is I've moved freight around and I've built several passenger stations. I built one down here in, what's this, like southeast Doobie. I built one over here, and that's basically Doobie. Over here I built one, and that is Merak. And if I come down near the bottom, that is Megrez. And I come over here, and that is going to be, I think it's East Megrez. West Megrez. Okay, so I'm going to be back in a moment and show you everything being all built. Back again, and as you can see, I have now laid out all of the passenger track, and now have 3 trains running the rural loop. Okay, so that's what I've named this big circular run here. But now, as you saw, I had to very cleverly advance materials around. Basically, to kind of take a saying from the Dune series of books and movies, if you want your city to grow, let the materials flow. So, as you can see, I've also added a couple of new little truck routes over here by what I like to call Central Doobie, so that I can put materials here to build up this area, and over here to build up this area. Now, one of the things I'm going to have to do to flesh out the bus service around here is to add a bus line. Now, you might be wondering about why I did this little curvy thing here instead of just running the track more or less straight into the station. Oh, look, it's building something next to the station. Good. So, what we need to do here is, let's just take a quick, this is why I did it. Because if I want to run a road across the railroad tracks, I can. when the railroad track runs straight across the road. Uh, Over here, let's take a quick look. And you see, I can't do that. I'd have to build a bridge over it. So that's why I made that little kind of like curl thing there, because I do want to be able to use buses to bring more people in to get the station more active. And I built up a second logging camp here so that I can start boosting my lumber production to boost lumber being carried here. And as you can see, I've got my two materials factories, okay, with my port. Port right now is at 70% capacity on high capacity. I like my ports to puke stuff out. Now, I'm going to have a little fun here and I've already bought a bus, okay, this double-decker bus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Alioth Loop 1. I'm going to go ahead and use the copy command for this double-decker bus. I'm going to copy name, line color, service schedule. Boom. So now all I have to do is change the name here from Loop 1 to Loop 3. I can reorder it so that it's up and make it default. Now, as you notice, I have two trucks here that are just kind of sitting off map right now. And what I have 5, and there's like 1 there, 2, 3, this big long one over here, 4, and then down here, 5. So I have 5 truck freight routes, but I'm only using 2 trucks to service them. I'm not about to buy 5 trucks because I just don't need them all that much. So I can let them run a couple days, fill up a parking lot, a freight area, and then take them off map, move them to somewhere else. So back to the bus. Let's go ahead and place him. Here. I'm going to place him right here. Right there. Okay, and now I need to reverse the direction so it's going into the lot. Okay. And let's take a look at the service schedule. Now, good, it's making that turn there on the deadhead hours. So now what I need to do is look at North Alioth. Let's see, do we have a North Alioth? There it is. So it stops for 10 minutes. So now, my operating hours, okay? Bus 1 leaves at 6, ends at 2200. Bus 2 leaves at 6:30, ends at like 22:30. So bus number 3 here is going to start at 7. And if I move the number here on the bottom, it moves that one automatically, but not vice versa. And I'm going to want to keep the bus ending at, say, 2200. I'm having a little trouble with bus number 2 getting into the barn, getting into the little parking lot here. So now what I need to do is look at the departure conditions, okay, 10 minutes for the station, which is what I want, and movement setup. So what I want to do is I don't want them going in stand stop line 1, I want them in 3 for deadhead and for operating, okay? So now he'll go to the 3rd slot. Now what I want to do is real quick, let's just run the clock a little bit, and as you can see, it just parked in the 3rd spot. And then slowly but surely, this guy doesn't seem to quite follow the timing of bus number 1. I'm not quite sure, and he's always out running around late. But what I want to do is show you, well, let's see, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's let the clock run. We annual natural resources profit, $10 million. And there's a big boat, so I'm getting ready. It's cleaning out my lumber and, okay. What I want to do is show you, you see all these little, little people pictures right here, okay? What that tells you is that it's, and you can see how it's like every station. So when you're running clock at the fastest speed, you're always going to see these little people signs that indicate that the train left passengers at the station. Now, if I slow the clock down a bit, watch what's going to happen. You see, now we're not seeing all of that. As you can see now, we're not seeing a problem that really doesn't exist. So running at fast speed can like in other games, like this early access game, New City, that I've done some videos on, it just kind of distorts how the game is played. So I find that yeah, I have to ignore those superfluous signs for the excess passengers. So let's take a quick look for grins at the profit and loss statement. So I've made look, 125 million in sales. Costs are at 107. My bottom line, ooh, look at that, a negative 39 million. So, but that's okay. Before I started running clock, it was with 44, and a little before that, maybe 2 weeks before that, it was at 47. So now it's just going to be a matter of running clock. It cost me, I had to borrow $200 million, 4 sets of 50. And the reason I'm doing 50 is so that they're easier to pay off if I want to do an early payoff, which I will do. Right now, I have 35 million in unused credit, so I can still borrow up to 35 million. And I'm up to 16 million now in my money. So now what I'm trying to do is just, now it's going to be making money and not making a bunch of big moves. I'm also getting ready to finish up my second research project, which will be to increase my staff, and it'll increase it by 20 people, because right now my workload is extremely hard work with no problems. So what I want to do is kind of make sure that I work and improve my staff. So I'm going to let clock run for a while before I start up my next episode. I hope that you'll be coming back for my next episode of the Tourist Haven series, which probably won't be too many videos. But what I wanted to do was kind of, instead of just do a lot of talking, explaining my plan, I decided after, on my third attempt at doing this episode, to see, now their train left the station and there were people that could have been picked up. But as you can see, I got another train coming. And the reason that I'm running 3 trains is, and they're small, is what I'm trying to do is on the development. Right now it's saying slow progress, but better than limited. So I hope you'll be back for my next video, as I'll probably come back around the end of the first fiscal year so that I can show you how I've done.